Trouble on the tracks. The LRT is about to get a bit more crowded. OC Transpo says a new issue will be taking a few train cars out of service. Breaking news, a new issue with train cars on the Confederation line is set to immediately impact LRT users. OC Transpo is pulling some of their vehicles out of service because of an issue with some of the car's wheels. The cartridge bearings on some of the trains have to be replaced, and while OC Transpo says the schedule won't be impacted, taking those cars out of service means users could end up being packed in like sardines during rush hour. CTV's Leila Rock joins us with more on the impact, Leah.
Well, Stefan, get ready for crowded trains and crowded platforms, as well as possible longer waits. You may miss your train because there simply isn't enough room. OC Transpo says this is a new issue, and they don't know if it's related to the other problems the system has experienced. This one involves spalling on the cartridge bearing, meaning flakes are breaking off the surface, and it can create pits that grow over time. OC Transpo says if this issue is not addressed immediately, this can lead to cracks and can result in a failure. Late this afternoon, a safety order was issued requiring vehicles with more than 100,000 kilometers be removed from service. So what does that mean? Starting tonight, Line 1 will be operating with a mix of single and double car trains. The current frequency will stay the same, but platforms are expected to be more crowded at times during the morning and afternoon peak periods.
At those peak times, there's going to be an impact in terms of the capacity, and that's why we're here to talk to our customers about, the fact that, the platforms will be busier at those key times. They will see a combination of single and double car trains, and some customers may have to wait for a second train. They may not be able to access the first train, and that's not acceptable. I appreciate that our customers will, I think frustrating is maybe putting it mildly. I think our customers will be upset with this.
There is no timeline for when the issues will be fixed. Work has already begun, but OC Transpo says it's too early to tell right now when full service will resume. As for R1 service, which is the parallel bus service that generally runs when the O train is down, it won't be running right now, and that is largely due to another major issue facing the service right now: not enough buses to meet current demand. Earlier this month, Stefan, there were 800 trips that were canceled because of not enough buses in one single day.
Oh my goodness, ongoing frustration for transit users for sure. CTV's Leila Rock reporting live for us. Thank you, Leah. It's too soon to say if some will opt to hop back behind the wheel instead of using public transit because of this, but if they do, it could be adding to an already worsening traffic issue. According to a new report, Ottawa's worst traffic now hits the middle of the week. Tuesday to Thursday are the slowest commuting days as more and more motorists jam the roads. Looking at the roads right now, slow moving along the usual trouble spots, but even on stretches of the Queensway that are relatively clear right now, the flow of traffic is being slowed by the snowfall, with drivers reducing speed for safety. CTV's Tyler Fleming joining us live now on location with more details on this. Tyler.
Yeah, Stefan, I'm just alongside the Queensway here, and you can see behind me the eastbound lanes of the 417 are totally backed up. I can assure you the westbound lanes are very backed up here too. The commute to and from Ottawa, to and from home can be very challenging, and new data suggests it's only getting worse. According to mapping company TomTom, overall, today's commute starting at 4 p.m. is the worst. But Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons aren't much better, when motorists can expect a 10-kilometer trip to take nearly 30 minutes. Major construction projects throughout the summer and fall impact travel times, along with more public and private sector workers making the return to office. Now, last year, drivers lost nearly 3 days in rush hour traffic.
It is frustrating, stuck in traffic. You wonder what's going on, Sometimes you don't see any construction, you don't see any accidents. It's just volume, I guess. Maybe the roads can't handle it.
And particularly with the bus services and subways not running properly, right? People are nervous to take them, so therefore more cars on the street, right?
Ottawa ranks 7th for congestion in Canada, behind Vancouver, Toronto, and Halifax. Now, as I was saying, a 10-kilometer trip can take upwards of half an hour. So from downtown to Canada, you're looking at about an hour. And tack on this snow, the plows, there's probably going to be some collisions out there today too. Oh my goodness, Stefan, it's going to be a lot longer than that.
Yeah, westbound really backed up behind you there, Tyler. Thank you for this. A break-in at a ByWard Market cafe caught on security cameras, renewing concerns about safety for small businesses in the area.
It does impact our mental health in a day that, oh, we're not safe at the end of the day.
Beans and Barrels manager Nandini Upade says roughly $1,500 was stolen after two individuals were seen on camera ripping the till from the computer before taking off with the cash inside. She says it happened Tuesday morning just before 6 a.m. after they gained access through the front door. The break-in comes as the past year has seen a number of businesses in the ByWard Market close, some citing safety concerns.
Maybe have the Ottawa police go around. I know that their resources are limited at the end of the day, but I feel like as a small business, it would really mean a lot for us if they could come to us and check up on us. Yeah.
Late last year, Mayor Mark Sutcliffe announced a $1 million pilot project to hire private security in the market, while police say they've also increased their presence. The cafe says it hopes to reopen by the weekend. Now to the impaired driving trial of Ottawa City Councillor Matthew Luloff. The defense is asking the judge to exclude key evidence for the Crown over alleged breaches of Luloff's charter rights. Luloff has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Lawrence Greenspan wants both Luloff's blood alcohol level readings and what the councillor said to a breath technician in the Ottawa police cell block tossed out. He alleges charter breaches, including unlawful detention and delaying Luloff's right to counsel.
The driver was not identified that night by a person who was following them, and that Mr. Luloff was then subject to an arrest by the police on his own property without any warrant, was denied rights to counsel, and taken to the station and underwent a series of tests. These charter breaches in my submission to the judge are such that the evidence should be excluded and the charges should be dismissed.
A decision is expected next month. The proposed high-speed rail along the Toronto to Quebec City corridor could one day reshape how Canadians travel, but many are asking at what cost. Starting this week, public information sessions are giving residents the chance to raise concerns, ask questions, and weigh in on the project's potential future. CTV's Kimberly Fowler was at today's first public meeting and has more for us. Kimberly.
Well, Stefan, there will be a series of these open house sessions over the next couple of months, all along the proposed high-speed rail route. The public is welcome and encouraged to connect with the project experts at Alto. That's the Crown Corporation behind the ambitious project to build the high-speed railway. Now, right now, the plan includes 7 stops between Toronto and Quebec City, with construction on the first section between Ottawa and Montreal starting as early as 2029 and opening around 2037.
We're talking about Ottawa to Toronto in under 2 hours, connecting Ottawa to Montreal in an hour. That is game-changing.
Tremblant Station, the current Via Rail station located southeast of downtown Ottawa, and the city's original downtown Union Station has been floated as possible locations for the capital's high-speed terminal. Now, Alto says ultimately the Ottawa hub will be placed in the best location for the city. Now, Alto says the entire project could come with a price tag between $60 and $90 billion and partially be funded by private investors. Now, these public sessions, they will continue right through to the end of March, Steph.
A chance for people to have their say. CTV's Kimberly Fowler reporting live for us. Thank you, Kimberly. In other news, 2 dogs died in a house fire in Ottawa's West End this morning. Ottawa Fire received a 911 call just before 9 a.m. reporting smoke in a townhouse unit on Draper Avenue. The fire started in the kitchen and firefighters were able to stop it from spreading. Fire officials say 2 large dogs, each weighing 100 pounds, were found unresponsive inside the home and died from their injuries. 3 people living in the home will be displaced. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A woman was treated for serious injuries after a head-on crash in Ottawa's West End. Emergency crews responded to the crash on Eagleson Road near Terry Fox Drive around 7:50 last night. One of the vehicles involved in the crash ended up in a ditch. It took firefighters more than half an hour to free the teenaged woman from the vehicle. Paramedics also assessed a man at the scene.
It doesn't surprise me because you talk to people and see how lonely they are.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, today is Bell Let's Talk Day, considered Canada's biggest national conversation about mental health. And our Jackie Paris is joining us now live in studio for our first check on the forecast. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. We're seeing light snow steadily move through the city right now. By tomorrow morning, we could see between 3 to 5 centimeters. So it is steadily going to be moving through closer to midnight. It should clear by Thursday morning, but we could see light flurries continuing for Thursday. Right now, though, temperatures sitting around -7, -8 degrees in eastern Ontario. As we look towards those overnight lows, about -6, so pretty mild for this time of year. Tomorrow, daytime high will be -3. We'll have more on your latest forecast in just a bit, but for now, we're going to take a quick break.
Returning now to today's breaking news story, OC Transpo is temporarily reducing the number of train cars running on the LRT Line 1 after an issue was identified with the trains. Today's radio question of the day is asking, do you have confidence in the LRT system?
The city should stop any expansion of the LRT until they can fix the transit reliability issues. I would say reallocate whatever funds they can from the expansion to use it to fix the current issues with the transit. And maybe once we fix those issues, then we can look at expanding.
Christy Cameron is here with more, and I heard a part of the conversation on your radio show, Christy, and I get the sense that you have lots to say about this one.
Well, I would point out I had 2 city councillors on the show. Councillor Tim Tierney was one of them, and it sounds to me like he also has big doubts about the future of the system because, as you know, the eastern extension of the LRT, the one that takes people eventually all the way to Orleans, is meant to open sometime in early 2026. That's this year, and he told me he doesn't see that happening.
Really?
So I thought that was interesting. That's his opinion.
Yeah.
But he's an East End city councillor, and he's looking at this, thinking, how is that going to happen? And if you're a rider, or even if you're a taxpayer, I think you're really aggravated today. That's what I was hearing from listeners like Kadeem, like a lot of people on the text board, because we were told that service was going to improve on Line 1. That we were going to have more trips, more trains, and now we have fewer trips and fewer trains. Keep in mind, if you're taking the train, let's say in an off-peak hour, and now it's going to be more crowded, you're standing on the platform, you already have to wait 10 minutes off-peak. You miss a train because there's so many people, now you're waiting 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's 20 minutes at the start of a trip to get to Tunney's or to get to Blair, to then wait for a bus. So we're talking about a serious disruption here.
Definitely, and what we've been talking about here in the newsroom is the compounding factor of the aging bus fleet, and so there are less buses and less trains at the same time right now.
Yeah, we got traffic on the Queensway, we got construction, we've got winter weather because it's Ottawa, and then in addition to that congestion, we have the bus network crisis, and now we've got the train, which was the part of the system that was working well. And if I can, my final point on this, Steph, what about the problems we haven't discovered yet? We had the other issue that was discovered. Now we have this issue inside. What else is there out there? A lot of riders are wondering, like, what else is problematic on this lemon of a train?
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Christy. You can join the conversation and leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA page. More and more older Canadians are feeling less optimistic about aging, many experiencing loneliness or at high risk of social isolation, according to a new survey.
It doesn't surprise me because you talk to people and see how lonely they are.
The National Institute on Aging surveyed thousands of people 50 and over and found optimism about getting older fell from 62% in 2024 to 57% in 2025. Another 57% also reported experiencing loneliness, with 43% at risk of social isolation.
As the study pointed out, one of the issues is affordability. The increased cost of everything from healthcare to transportation to housing to groceries is actually preventing a lot of Canadians, a lot of older Canadians, from participating in social activities that would actually benefit their health and well-being.
Seniors advocacy organizations say more needs to be done to address issues like investing in proper programs like public pensions, ensuring affordability crisis is dealt with, and provide the necessary health care.
Winds across the top, gets ahead of steam, in comes Stefan, shoots, scores!
Coming up on CTV News at 5, highlights from a big night for both the Sens and the Charge on the road. We'll be right back. Coming up tonight on CTV after the news starting at 7, you can watch E-Talk. Then shifting gears, an episode of The Masked Singer starts at 8. Then you can watch Fear Factor beginning at 9 and Shark Tank at 10. Now for another check on the weather forecast, here's Jackie, who is live in studio with us tonight. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. The light snow continues here throughout Ottawa, I should say, and it is moving significantly towards Kingston. That it has prompted a weather warning. In fact, more on that in just a bit. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It's -8 right now with some light flurries still moving through. It did affect visibility in this early afternoon, so be careful on your commute home. So we did mention a snowfall warning in effect for the Kingston area, where there are strong winds blowing snow as well. This is in place until Thursday morning, where we could see some light snow and flurries really moving through eastern Ontario well into midnight and into tomorrow morning. So a lot of that focused in parts of just south of Kingston, as well as close to Cornwall, just east of Ottawa. And then tomorrow morning, light flurries will carry us on, but it really is the cold weather that we're anticipating. That's going to be for Friday. Tomorrow we'll still have one more day of mild weather, where we will see a daytime high about -3, and that's going to be in the early morning. When you head out the door, it's going to feel closer to -9, but it is going to start dropping in terms of temperatures for our Thursday evening. Taking a look at parts of the Seaway, -4 the overnight low, so still fairly mild for this time of year. Daytime high is going to be about -5. The wind gusts will continue with gusts up to 40 kilometers per hour. -5 is going to be the daytime high for Pembroke as well as Petawawa. So here's a closer look after Thursday. We are likely going to see mainly clear skies, but that's when the cold weather is really going to come at us, and it's going to be biting cold conditions as well. Friday, the daytime high will be -13, overnight low -29, Stefan, and then Saturday we're only getting to a daytime high of -18, as well as our Sunday. And again, it's going to be a stretch of -30 overnight, -20 for Sunday, and as well as for Monday. So bundle up, stay indoors when you get in early as you can, because it will be a cold evening for sure.
All right, thank you for that, Jackie. We will bundle up and heed those warnings. Here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on CTV News Ottawa.ca. If you go to our homepage right now, our bright red breaking news banner is up. The headline reading that Trump calls off tariffs on Europe after reaching framework on Greenland deal. Obviously, Greenland has been a big topic of discussion. Our Prime Minister weighing in. NATO nations also showing a unified front. Now the threat of tariffs on Europe being called off because they've reached a new deal. All the details on our website.
It's like rain.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, a special honor for a Canadian music icon from right here in the capital. Details just ahead.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Right now, the temperature is -8. And it's time now for a look ahead to CTV News at 6. Here's Patricia Bull.
Thanks, Steph. Here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Donald Trump takes aim at Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech yesterday in Davos, hours before saying the framework of a deal on Greenland has been reached.
We have underinvested in the Arctic for about a generation or two.
As Ottawa strives to become a defense hub for Canada, a new tech and defense company is opening in the city and says it has the capabilities to help defend Canada's Arctic in the face of Trump's ambitions for Greenland.
Stuck in traffic, you wonder what's going on, you know. Sometimes you don't see any construction, you don't see any accidents. It's just volume, I guess.
New data confirms what many drivers in the city know firsthand. Traffic is getting worse in the capital, especially on certain weekdays as more workers are in the office. All of that and more is coming up tonight on CTV News at 6. That's right after the early edition of CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo at 5:30. Steph.
Thank you, Patricia. Now the final 5 other stories we're following. Winterlude is quickly approaching and preparations are in full swing for the Capital Region's Winter Festival. Crews were busy in Confederation Park today, including working on ice sculptures. Winterlude events are returning to the park for the first time since 2018 and will include the popular Crystal Gardens with ice sculptures. Winterlude runs from January 30th to February 16th.
Stutzla winds across the top, gets ahead of steam, in comes Stutzla, shoots, scores! What?
Tim Stutzla shows off his skating and shooting skills with the game winner for the Sens. The Sens beat Columbus 4-1 with goalie James Reimer making 21 saves. Ottawa wraps up their 3-game road trip in Nashville tomorrow night.
But New York able to just stand at the length of the ice.
Cross ice, Leslie, save Shanahan, rebound, score!
And there's Charge Captain Brianne Jenner scoring to make it 3-0 for Ottawa and New York last night. The Sirens then scored 3 straight to tie the game. In overtime, Sarah Wasnovich nets the game winner for the Charge. Ottawa beats New York 4-3. The Charge are in Montreal Saturday afternoon. You may have noticed several Ottawa police vehicles driving around downtown Ottawa and on Sussex Drive today. The service was conducting escort training, which prepares officers for escorting dignitaries around Ottawa during special events.
It's like rain.
And how about this? Ottawa's own Alanis Morissette is among the latest inductees into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. The artist was announced today along with several other inductees, including Kenny Loggins and KISS founder Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. Taylor Swift also on that list, the 36-year-old becoming the youngest person ever to secure a spot in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. That is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. Be sure to join Patricia Bull for CTV News at 6. The early edition of National starts now.